Here it is everyone, the video you have been waiting for, maybe some more than others. 5 things I hated about the Star Wars Battlefront 2 beta. Now yes, I know this is a beta, things can be changed before the full game comes out, however there was still bad things and we just need to talk about them here today. I need to give my opinions and then we can have a discussion in the comments. Remember to get your like buttons ready if you agree with what I say here today, and your dislike buttons ready as well if you completely disagree with anything I put forward in this video. So here we go, the YouTuber that complains about, let's be honest, near enough everything in Battlefront. What is the first thing I hate about Battlefront 2? It's the jump troopers, but not the troopers themselves, more about the price of battle points you have to pay to unlock these guys. Now the jump troopers, whether it be for the Resistance or the Republic, or the rocket battle droids, characters like that, all cost 2,000 battle points. Now this makes them very easy to be unlocked, and considering how overpowered they are, it's kind of unfair. Now I don't want these troopers to be nerfed, anything like that, I just want them to cost a few more battle points, maybe 3,000 would work a bit better. Just so players have to work towards them a bit more and don't just get given these characters very easily. When you unlock a hero, for example, at 5,000 battle points, you do feel like you've really been rewarded and you've had to work for what you've got. Whereas with these guys, it's just very easy to get them. Let's move on to the Flame Troopers. Now let me just point out something straight away. The Flame Troopers cost 3,000 battle points. The Jump Troopers cost 2,000 battle points. Now the Jump Troopers were so much better than the Flame Troopers, and that is my problem here. For 3,000 battle points, is it really worth getting one of these Flame Troopers? The answer is no, they do hardly any damage. I mean, I could be trying to go for an enemy, I would never kill them because they just turn around, notice me and get me straight away. Near enough, all the Flame Troopers' abilities are useless, they die very easily, they don't do any damage, they need a big buff when the full game comes out. The only other option here is that if EA really want to keep the Flame Troopers as bad as they are right now, to downgrade them in battle points a lot. The way they're performing at the moment, I wouldn't hesitate to say they're probably worth about 500 battle points in all honesty. But now the reinforcements are out of the way, let's move on to my third point, probably the most controversial point on this list, and it's Starfighter Assault. I hate everything about this game mode. Now if you haven't hit the dislike button already, you're probably going to go ahead and do it now because that is right. I just didn't like Starfighter Assault, nothing about it interested me whatsoever. You're probably realising very quickly that there is no Starfighter Assault gameplay in the background as I speak about it, and that is because I lasted all of 5 minutes on the game mode and then decided to stop playing it, as it's just Fighter Squadron Part 2. Now don't be deceived by the fact that you are in space and not in the atmosphere of a planet. This is just Fighter Squadron all over again, I'm telling you. Now let's just point some things out straight away. You cannot board enemy ships, you cannot get out of your vehicle to then go and walk around as a soldier maybe inside of any of these ships. The game mode, once again, just like Fighter Squadron, consists of you flying around completing very small objectives. The only changes that have been made to flying from Battlefront 1, not including the controls, is the fact that there's more hero ships and that you're in space. That's actually it. I want to be able to fly around in space, then maybe get out and go inside an enemy capital ship, place down some bombs, blow it up maybe, then get back inside my ship and fly around in space again. Is there anything wrong with that? Anyone who defends this terrible game mode, I'm sorry, but I just can't agree with you. You've got to come to your senses and realise that this is just Fighter Squadron all over again. Hey, but on the bright side, at least I get to fly around in my vehicle just randomly shooting enemies, flying around in circles again. I mean, that's all I wanted really from Battlefront 1 to Battlefront 2, it's a great upgrade. Let's move on though to cross-era heroes, something I supported in the past, but after playing the beta, my mind has changed. I'm against this idea now, and here's why. Now we've heard it all before, Rey on Naboo doesn't work, Darth Maul on Takodana, it's stupid, we all know this by now. But the one thing that just really got to me when playing the beta was when I was using Boba Fett, and I realised that I was shooting down my brothers as I was playing the game. Let's just clear it up quickly for those of you who might not know that much about Star Wars. So the clone army is cloned off the bounty hunter Jango Fett. Boba Fett was also a clone of Jango Fett, but he was an unaltered clone. Does it then make sense that Boba Fett is shooting down his brothers? If you've watched one of the earlier episodes of the Clone Wars TV series, you will know that Boba Fett tries to avoid doing this a lot. But obviously from EA's point of view, they only give us, 5 new heroes that weren't in the last game, so they might as well give us Boba Fett again and he can shoot down a few of his brothers in battle. Now this cross-era thing is one big mess in my opinion, because yes, you could have a system where you just keep characters to their own eras, for example Maul stays in the prequels and Kylo Ren stays in the sequels. But there's a huge problem here, and it's another fine mess, let's say, that EA have got themselves into. There's hardly any heroes in the game from the prequels and the sequels. Let's put the original trilogy to the side. We all know how much they love reusing the content, so the original trilogy has got loads of heroes, we don't need to worry about that. But then if you say you've got to keep prequel heroes to the prequel era and sequel heroes to the sequel era, there's a big mess there because there's hardly any heroes to fill up the space. You can't just be playing in the Clone Wars and be forced to pick Yoda or Darth Maul every time, and then for the sequels Rey or Kylo Ren. I know they'll add in more heroes later down the line, but for now this is just one big mess. There should have been more heroes in at launch for each era, and maybe they shouldn't have spent so much time on adding nearly 40 vehicles into the game. We'll talk about vehicles in another video, but my point is the cross-era thing doesn't work. It takes you out of the moment when you see Boba Fett killing his brothers or Rey just turning up in the prequel trilogy, but there's not much we can do about it. Until it gets to the point where more heroes are added to this game and there's more variety, when it gets to that stage, then heroes can be locked to their own eras. For now though, this is a point I don't agree with, but there's not really much we can do about it, so let's move on to the final thing I've got to say, which is something I mentioned a few months back. Now remember that video I made a few months back talking about 3 things I hated about Star Wars Battlefront 2? Well, it did do pretty well, however one of the points I spoke about in that video was that Galactic Assault seemed pretty much empty. Now let's go to Feed for example, the one planet we've seen Galactic Assault on so far. We are in the middle of the Clone Wars. Now the Clone Wars is different to the Galactic Civil War and whatever that war is called in the sequel trilogy. The Clone Wars is actually huge, there's so much going on. But Feed seems to be the opposite. I said it back in June and I'm going to say it again here. Feed is completely empty and it's just so wrong because we're in the middle of the Clone Wars. As I've said, we should have clones and droids everywhere. But instead we have 20 on 20 on this huge map and it just doesn't seem to work. Yes, I enjoy Galactic Assault, I think it's a good game mode, but not only do you have those cross-era heroes taking you out of the action, but also you've got the whole empty map kind of thing. Now there are 2 ways this could have been dealt with. First of all, the maps could have been a lot smaller, or second of all, there could have been more players. I suggested 40 versus 40 back in June, which a lot of you did point out would be quite a lot, and the main question there is, would the game be able to handle it? So bearing that in mind, it is pretty much a hard question to answer and I would like to know what you all think in the comments section. How would you fix Galactic Assault? I can understand for the original trilogy and the sequel trilogy the maps being pretty quiet, but not for the prequels. Kashyyyk I am especially worried about. If you saw episode 3 you know how jam-packed the Battle of Kashyyyk is, but if it's just 20 versus 20 in Battlefront, it's going to be quite worrying as that map is going to be completely empty. Maybe some AI soldiers would work in this situation, who knows, but as I said, let me know all your opinions about this point and all my other 4 points in the comments section. I really do appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch this video, it does mean a lot to me. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.